Well, it is my privilege right now to be able to recognize O.S. Hawkins, who is President and CEO of GuideStone Financial Resources, for a report. The reason we were able to have so many military here is this is Dr. Hawkins' security detail. And so I recognize Dr. Hawkins for his report.
Thank you, Mr. President, and it's my joy today to present the first GuideStone report of our second century of service to Southern Baptists. This past year we celebrated 100 years, 101 years ago in Hot Springs, Arkansas, when the convention met there. William Lunsford, our founder, shared the vision and we began the journey. I'm joined today on the platform with me by our chairman of our board, John Morris, who's a retired bank president from North Carolina, and our vice chairman, Renee Trawick. Renee is the vice president of Marsh in Manhattan. Next year, she'll become the first African-American female to be the chairman of any board in the entity of a Southern Baptist convention. And we're greatly blessed with Renee's expertise. Also, John Jones and Tim Head from our staff are here. This past year, GuideStone moved into our new facilities, right in the very geographic heart now of the entire Metroplex. It's been an incredible move. It's part of our Vision 2020 Aggressively Managing Costs initiative. And our move is resulting in a $4 million savings ongoing every year to our budget, which this year we've been able to put back into our our My Destination funds, which most of you are in, to continue our promise to continue to keep lowering those fees. This year got off to an incredible start in New York at a dinner hosted by a Wall Street Journal when Lipper, the #1 ranking industry leader in America, named GuideStone Funds the #1 mutual fund in America, beating out 222 other name brand mutual funds as the #1 fund in America. And we're so grateful for that honor there in New York. Because it means that we want to be good stewards of serving you. It was the final piece in our GuideStone 100 strategic long-range plan was that. GuideStone 90 that we concluded in 2008, we wanted to just be a known provider. We were just getting started in this ministry and that way with our mutual fund. By 2013, we wanted to be a leading provider, and by 2018, we wanted to be recognized in the industry as a premier provider because we serve the kind of folks that we're so privileged to serve, and God has met every initiative we had in our strategic long-range plan. We're grateful. On the investment side, our investment team continues to meet even our most optimistic expectations. David Spica, our Chief Investment Strategic Officer, he's on CNBC every week, 2 or 3 times, Fox Business. Many of you have seen him with GuideStone right behind him. And it gives us an opportunity to take our screen funds into the marketplace, make a statement there. The first quarter of 2019, total contributions into our funds are over 65% higher than the same time last year. We're having the greatest year we've ever had, and more people are looking to GuideStone as their investment solution. On the healthcare side, affordability is still the issue, always has been and always will be. The ability to be able to afford health insurance. That's why we've launched Secure Health 3000. It's an option, quite honestly, to those sharing plans that some people are in because it's actual medical coverage with Blue Cross Blue Shield, primary care visits, teledoc conversations at no additional cost, and it's very competitive. And if you're looking for options, stop by our booth and talk to some of our people about that. We want you to stop by our booth because we're giving $150 to everybody that'll just stop by the wellness program. And I'm not in cash, but that's how much that wellness checkup is. And it's free for you if you'll get by there and get that wellness check because it's so vitally important for you, your ministry, your church, and everything else about you. Still, half the claims we pay out are what we call preventable diseases. They don't have to be paid out. You don't have to be that sick if you get yourself in shape. So come by the wellness program, get a free wellness checkup today. Property and casualty, GuideStone through our property and casualty is seeking to be at the forefront of helping churches respond to the scourge of sex abuse. Recently, our sex abuse summit we had last month had 500 people attending that. No one knows the church like GuideStone. No one can come beside your church and stand with you in your property and casualty needs like GuideStone. So let us have an opportunity to do that. We have a 98% renewal rate, which means we're very competitive. People love us and they stay with us. And if you're not using GuideStone, come by the booth and talk to us about that. Vision 2020 is guiding us to the year 2020, has been for the last 2 or 3 years. As you know, we finished our strategic long-range plan, our 100th anniversary celebration. We changed our name, we expanded our markets, we registered our funds. All those things are part of GuideStone 100. Now we're involved in an incredible succession planning program in our GuideStone offices. Every executive officer, every manager in that place, we're looking at succession planning to keep our program stable in the years to come. And now we're involved in this 2023 initiatives there to increase our market share, to respond to changes in the marketplace, and to aggressively manage our costs. That's what we've been about the last few years. 2019, we're operating with 80% of the workforce that we did 5 years ago, and nobody's been laid off. We had a voluntary retirement program. We've through attrition, we've been able to lower our head count 20%. We're leaner than we've ever been, doing better than we've ever done. Our budget this year is less than it was in 2014, and we're being able to serve more people and serve more effectively. So we've been all about the business of aggressively managing our costs. Let me just say a word about Mission Dignity as it relates to the Code series of our devotional books. As you know, all the royalties go to Mission Dignity. In the last 5 years, 1.5 million of these books have been sold. I want to thank all of you who used the Christmas code. 500,000 Christmas codes were sold this last year. It's a great evangelistic tool for your church at Christmas season, as is the Easter code. And now we have a new video series with Thomas Nelson. All the royalties of it go to Mission Dignity. And if you're planning Bible studies next year in your church, hope you'll look at the Nehemiah Code. It's never too late for a new beginning, the video series. Finally, Mission Dignity. We're having the best year we've ever had. We're going to raise over $8 million this year for Mission Dignity. Last year we had over 8,000 individual donors that gave, and over 2,000 new donors. Every year we're adding about 2,000 new donors to Mission Dignity. And what we're doing, we're sustaining a program for years to come with regular donors, for which we're so grateful. And by next year, 2020, we'll have seen over $150 million raised for Mission Dignity, every dime going to someone in need, because the program is endowed through our stewardship there. This is the heart of who we are. It's our founder's vision. 10, 15 years ago, we were able to give $50 a month to those in need. Today, they get $600. And one of the things I want to do before I end up my last lap or two that I'm running now is to get the expense grants endowed. Even though we help people monthly, so many of them need dentures, or they need hearing aids, or their refrigerator goes out. And so we have expense grants. And one of the things we want to do is get those endowed so in perpetuity we'll be able to stand by those people in those particular places. Got a 1 or 2 minute video here to tell you why we do what we do with who we do what we do.
In my heart, I already had to go to counseling in Mexico. I liked that church, but it was a very poor church. It was just, farmers, people that raise cotton, and they didn't have too much money. And there were about 28 members, so they didn't have enough money to pay a pastor. We had farms. And we have migrant workers that would come for a temporary. One of them came and said, Brother Enriquez, I want to talk to you. Brother Pastor said, yo nunca he tenido un par de zapatos. I have never had a pair of shoes. next week when you come, will you bring me a pair of shoes? And I said, I tell you what size are you wearing? What size are your feet? He didn't know what size his feet. So I took one of my shoes over and I said, try that one. So he tried it, it fit him. And so he said, oh, they fit all right, they fit pretty good. And I said, they are yours. You didn't have shoes, but now you have shoes.
I felt the need to go to places, small places, and in that type of ministry and that far back, salaries were inadequate. Most preachers had to work with their hands to supplement their income. You didn't think about laying aside something for retirement, because I grew up in an old-fashioned teaching and all like that. Preachers didn't ever retire anyhow. You just kept going and going and going. One day in the pulpit, you're going to fall dead while you was preaching. I gave 60 or more years to the Southern Baptist ministry. And I always wanted to have that as an epitaph for my tombstone. Passing through, he preached the word. But the annuity board has been a lifeline that provided for us when we could not really provide for ourselves. And I didn't want to fall back on any other kind of help or aid and social services and all like that, although I suppose that I would have had to, but it's a different kind of love.
And it is a different kind of love. That's the kind of people we're privileged to serve. And wouldn't we all want to see that on our tombstone? And passing through, he preached the word. June 23rd is Mission Dignity Sunday. Come by the booth and get some information about how your church can be Christ's hand extended to these people. Mr. President, that concludes our report.
Are there any questions concerning the report? There are no questions. Thank you, Dr. Hawkins.